好，我们来看一下这一道题 ，diplomacy。首先，大家把视频暂停一下，用大概30秒到40秒的时间，把整段话呢先通读一遍。All right， 我们来看第一部分，整段话还是比较长，对不对？我们来一步一部分看一下。For diplomacy, the starting point， 注意这个 t，ing 不是 point， 是 point。The starting point must be 这个 t 要弱化。The starting point must be 这个 t 和这两个 t 呢都不能读成 point must 是错的。The starting point must be that 这个 t 如果你要发出来的话，你要非常迅速 that， 或者读成 The starting point must be that t 的口型做出来就可以了。Globalization requires bridges and removes barriers， 都是复数。For diplomacy, the starting point must be that globalization requires bridges and removes barriers。 其实呢，我们不需要用任何的停顿，这一块逗号一个 tiny pause， 然后呢，一口气从这个 the 读到 barriers， 完全是没有问题的。OK， trust yourself。A policy of 前后连在一起。A policy of containment， 这个 t 弱化，我们连起来。A policy of containment， 好 ，is 对不对？ be 动词 is a difficult strategy 来形容这个 strategy is a difficult strategy， 所以这个 t 呢弱化，不要读成了 is a difficult strategy 是错的 ，is a difficult strategy。两种，一种是把 t 发出来是 is a difficult strategy。第二种，这个 t 做出口型 is a difficult strategy， 都是对的。In the age of 前后连在一起 ，in the age of the fiber optic cable， in the age of the fiber optic cable 连在一起。The jumbo jet 这个 t 我们要发出来 ，the jumbo jet and 这里可以有个 tiny pause and the satellite dish， 一个是把 t 发出来 ，the satellite dish， 或者说 and the satellite dish， 这呢 t 呢我是做出口型没有这个音的，两个都是对的。我们把第一部分读一下。For diplomacy, the starting point must be that globalization requires bridges and removes barriers. A policy of containment is a difficult strategy in the age of the fiber optic cable, the jumbo jet, and the satellite dish. 第二部分 There will always be the exception, such as the murderous regime. 这个单词念 regime, murderous regime in Iraq, where 从句前面可以 tiny pause， 对不对？可以停顿，要非常的果断。Regime in Iraq 停 ，where the only safe strategy is to keep it 连起来 is to keep it， 不要读成 is to keep it 是错的。is to keep it in the isolation ward until it accepts the norm of international behavior. 好，我们看着从句 where the only safe strategy is to keep it in the isolation ward tiny pause until it accepts the norm of international behavior 两处停顿。我们把第二部分读一下 There will always be the exception such as the murderous regime in Iraq where the only safe strategy is to keep it in the isolation ward until it accepts the norm of international behavior。 这里有个停顿，所以这个 d 要发清楚 ward。 第三部分 all the military dictatorship， 我没有读成 dictatorship， OK， all the military dictatorship in Burma which has persistently 多音节词注意 persistently failed 不是 failed OK failed to 这个 d 你们听一下 failed to respond， 我从这个 which 开始读，你们听一下 which has persistently failed to respond OK 一带而过 failed to respond to respond d 做出口型不是 respond to OK respond to dialogue it takes two to critically 多音节词 critically it takes two to critically engage， 我们要是读快一点呢 it takes two to critically engage 好，我们把第三部分读一下 or the military dictatorship in Burma, which has persistently failed to respond to dialogue. It takes two to critically engage. 这里个 which 前面呢，我们可以有个 tiny pause， 没有问题的。Alright， 我们把三个部分连在一起，似乎有一点难度，是不是 ？OK， 我们读的稍微慢一点，大家可以跟着我读。For diplomacy, the starting point must be that globalization requires bridges and removes barriers. A policy of containment is a difficult strategy in the age of the fiber optic cable, the jumbo jet, and the satellite dish. There will always be the exception, such as the murderous regime in Iraq, where the only safe strategy is to keep it in the isolation ward until it accepts the norm of international behavior, or the military dictatorship in Burma, which has persistently failed to respond to dialogue. It takes two to critically engage. All right, thank you guys.